School board meeting, July 14th. All are present, including Danny Olmsted, and we will rise for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we move on to public comment. Anyone from the public would like to comment on anything on the agenda? Just come up to the mic. All right, seeing no one moving on to consent agenda. Is there anything from the consent agenda that wants to be pulled for discussion? Hearing nothing, is there a motion to approve consent agenda? So moved. Motion by Monson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pullman. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The consent agenda passed. Off to Tiger Time.
Good evening. So, food service has had quite a busy summer already. Menu planning has involved a lot more forecasting to guarantee our products starting the start of the school year, because I really want to get the kids the things they like, and sometimes it isn't always easy with product. So trying our best this year with a few areas to forecast better with so they can get product, and also to bring our commodity dollars down efficiently and save on those meals. Summer feeding's just been really crazy, but a good crazy. And also Amy's going to speak on how the gardening's been going, and also the lessons and experiences the kids have had out there. So coming up here, there's a lot to do behind the scenes when it comes to summer feeding. So here's some pictures of our staff, and when we're doing non-congregate, there's just a lot of packing going on, of course, organization, and they've really have developed a good system there, and especially even when parents and kids go around the line and stuff, they get them quite through there fast. So they've done a fabulous job. So and there's some more pictures there. So yeah, as I talked about, the summer feeding service is going along well. We do congregate and non-congregate, and then Amy's going to speak on more gardening topics. I do want to introduce our new outreach coordinator, Ann Bassett, and she's the one that's there on a daily basis for summer feeding. She checks in the families, and she gets volunteers scheduled, does the registration, so she's really in the thick of everything. So if you have more detailed questions, wanting to know what summer feeding, that's why I have her here to ask those questions. So here's some pictures from the summer feeding program. And we do have something new this summer. We did start the non-congregate last year besides doing the congregate. And because it was so successful last year, we decided to increase the hours because our participation numbers have just really gone off the chart. And so it just gives them more time to pick up those meals. Also new is our weekend meals. And that also, when we do those on Thursdays, we really need that extra time for them to pick up their meals, with all of them that take advantage of that. Our registration numbers at the halfway point are like at 30% increase compared to last year. And we're at the halfway point now, and it's at 1,100 pre-registrations. And right now we're at, gotta get the numbers here right, 32,000. And that's at the halfway point for meals this year. And that's just slightly lower than the entire summer last year for numbers. So we're really doing well with getting kids fed, and families feeling pretty safe with economy, going well, and they can spread their dollars further that way. Here's a few more other photos. You have more there with families going through the line picking up their meals. You can also see in a couple pictures some kids even have volunteered, and that's kind of cool to see that they get excited about handing out the food. Last week, we thought it'd be a good idea to put out a comment box, and we did receive 55 comments. I'd say a few of them were mostly more criticism and how we could improve things more than being negative, and then the rest were really quite positive, thankful mostly that that we have this program for them. Some exact comments were, we love school lunch, everyone works together so well. We love it, thanks so much, love the veggies, amazing job, so friendly and kind, my children love the different options. It's so nice to introduce them to new foods. So that was nice to see, you don't expect that most of them would come out that way, so they're really appreciative, so that's great. Go to the next one. And we got Edie. Did you have any questions besides what I talked about for summer feeding?
I just have one quick question about what's in the lunches, particularly ones, I know you give out several on Thursday for the weekend. So what kind of main course items are there?
So a lot of those are like pre-packaged items, or they're an item that they can easily reheat. But we do have sides where a lot of extra fruits and vegetables, so it's not completely, what I want to say is processed, but we're trying to put minimal processed items out there as possible. And you still have to include your whole grains, and look out for your fats and sodium, so that's still being looked at. We give out gallons and half gallons of milk rather than going through a million cartons, which they are really appreciative of. So we do our best to make it a wide variety of items, but I'm grateful that we can at least provide those fresh items too on the weekends. So,
Thank you.
mm-hmm.
Have you had any issues with staffing?
No, surprisingly not. I'm really grateful in that. So.
Great. And then the other question I had, you mentioned some youth were volunteering. If there are people in the community that want to volunteer or want to come to one of the sites, how do they do that?
So they get a contact with Ann, and she's got a schedule she sets up for that. You want to talk a little more how they can do that?
So typically they'll reach out to me and I'll take a look at the schedule, see what openings we have and let them know, yes, this will work, or no, is there something else you'd be interested in? And it seems to work really well. We have great volunteers. Staff works well with all of our volunteers, and a lot of them are repeat, which I'm thankful for.
Excellent. Thank you.
And her information is on the flyer you might have seen.
I did want to add that one thing that the state asks is that the meals that we offer are easy for kids to prepare, because their assumption is that parents are working. So
That's good to know. Thank you.
yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm Amy. I'm the Farm to School Coordinator, and I'm here to just give you a little garden update, which consumes most of my time in the summer growing season. We are in the 4th year of this being a food service production project. The year prior, the FFA crew did that, and then we took that over to have a clearer direction about what can seamlessly incorporate into our summer feeding and school fall meals. We have an awesome crew hired in a competitive process. This is the 2nd year. We've had 10 to 15, 17 applicants. So it's a fun job that students want. So we hire 2 high school students, and then I have 2 other adults with experience to help me manage the flow of the season. We did increase the production space this year about 50%. And of course, June was wild. We had wild rain, over 10 inches measured at the school farm. I'm ready for that to be done. New culture, more opportunities. Culture as in growing culture. In June, we completed the installation of our first high tunnel. A high tunnel is different from a greenhouse because it is in-ground production and is unheated. This is a flexible plastic film structure. The sides crank up, it's well ventilated, and it's really going to be a gift for us to do some sensitive crop production and extend the season for things like tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers. And what we use a ton of in food service is head lettuce. So that was partially supported by the Hutch Health Foundation and the I.J. Birch Family Foundation, so we thank them big time for that. And that's a crew of all-star volunteers with experience, so that was a fun night. I think we're at the point 4 years in where we are trying to prioritize community connection, and it seems like the logical next and important step to bring people along with us. We started the farm stand 2 seasons ago. It's open every Tuesday, started last week from 2 to 5. So you can stop by for local abundance at the farm. We are currently harvesting salad mix, radishes, kale, basil, summer squash, peas, and broccoli, and just spotted about an hour ago is cucumbers. I'm going to go over there and open up the newsletter that we've been sending out last year and this year for just a little enhancement of community connection. Is it on?
Yep.
Okay, great. So this is the Farm to School newsletter. Just want to make sure. Okay. The Farm to School Garden update number 1. This was last week's edition. So if you want to sign up for this, there will be a link on the next page or a QR code you can scan from home. But it shows you what's fresh, any ideas or inspiration, fun stories that maybe go along with it. Last week's crop highlight was kale. We have our student hires choose their crops that they're interested in learning more about, and this was Courtney, one of our staff's choices. We link a recipe there, and part of I guess I was a farmer, so I love seeing students want to learn about how to farm and take this into their life moving beyond this opportunity. So they choose topics that they want to research and share with the public. And this was Patrick's. He chose weeds and how they affect the student garden. We deal with a lot of weeds in June. Those are the 3 most popular or common weeds at the farm. And maybe I'll just list kind of the crew and a little bit of fun information about the staff that's out there. This is Patrick. He's a junior. This is his 2nd year working at the farm, and he came back, so I think that's a good sign. It's hard work, and we love the crew this year. They're smiling, they're funny, and we have a good time. And then lastly, and most importantly, I think for our outreach at the farm, is our invitation to students participating in their summer bridge programming. It's been a wet June, so they have not been out there, but we did meet them at Tiger Elementary for the first 2 weeks of summer bridge, and we're hopeful that they can join us this Wednesday and Thursday. But below are some pictures of them loading their compost pockets. They got real spine and gross motor skill workouts last week, or the last week we saw them. So we're teaching them about growing and rooting and nourishing. And this is, of course, a lesson on nourishment. And this is how we would like to nourish more of the farms before through composting. So there's been a good look at that. And we actually buried these, all of the pockets, like 55 of them, in the soil on the farm. And we're going to dig these out on our last week and see what has decomposed. So anyway, this is their journal. This student said their family traditions and celebrations that make them feel connected and strong is to garden together. Yes. That's an example of organic and non-organic things that they hope to compost. But that's it. This is the garden newsletter, and we just try to keep the community informed of what's going on out there. Last week, Megan's Place came out last week. So this is another opportunity for community organizations from the outside that want to use the space and learn what we're up to. So they helped us harvest our first harvest, and it was a blast. I was having a rough day, and this totally turned it around. So sharing this with those in the community is utmost important. And here you can just Scan those to lend a hand, be a volunteer, or don't miss a beat is that newsletter to kind of stay informed.
Questions from you guys? Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you for your hard work.
thank you, thank you. All right, on to first policy readings, 700, 800, 900, and 400 and 500. Is there any questions from the group right away? Or any of them that we want to hit on?
I just have a couple questions.
Perfect.
The first one is on policy 503. This is student attendance. It looks like a change was made. It says it reflects MSBA change, removing the board as an excused approver for attendance. But that doesn't line up with state law, so I was just curious if we're aware of an upcoming change to that law, or did MSBA recommend it for a different reason?
Yes. That was a recommended change from MSBA, reached out, and that's part of the MSBA update from Terry Morrow, the attorney. What that basically states, from my interpretation and from some of the things that we've seen, at least on their newsletters, is a family can't reach out and just talk to a school board member to excuse the absence. They actually have to talk to a school official in the building to excuse that. So administrator, talk to the school secretary and so forth. So apparently in the past, families were able to contact a school board member and have that absence excused. But,
Okay.
yeah, that's what that means based off the interpretation we have. But it is an MSBA update.
So the attorney that we worked with didn't have concerns that that contradicts state law?
From my understanding, and I could look back at what the legislative update is, it was changed and removed due to the new legislative session.
Okay.
I can double check that and
Nope, that's
reach out
okay.
to you too.
Well, Mike, just so I can, Terry Morrow is the attorney that works with MSBA, and he's their policy person, but he's not our attorney.
Right.
So it hasn't been run necessarily past Mick.
Got it.
Just to make sure we have that in, yeah.
Okay. And then I had a question on policy 906, informing the community of child predators. Section 2, paragraph B. It says that if a person in the community is found to be guilty of committing crimes against a child, the superintendent can notify parents with students of similar ages. And I'm just curious what similar ages means.
Which letter is it, Mike? I'm sorry.
Section 2, paragraph B.
Oh, that was added, that part? Is that-
No, it's existing.
Oh, okay. Good question. That's something we would have to ask Mick. That's what I would say, if we have those questions, we should just write them down and send it his way.
Sure.
Between reading 1 and reading 2,
Okay.
along with the one that you just asked, to make sure that it all makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have one more question. This is more of the entire policy. I'm confused by policy 904, school district distribution of solicitation materials. The conversation started based out of a concern that it's hard to enforce, it's cumbersome, it puts us maybe at risk of liability if we're allowing one group to do it and not another. But then the policy looks like it doesn't revoke the district's ability. We're going to continue to do it.
Is 904 in here for a first reading?
Yes.
Tina, did 904 get in here for a first reading?
I can't, my computer's up there. If it is, it's something that's.
Okay, 904 was, we were waiting. I don't know, that wasn't supposed
We
to
don't
be in
see,
there.
I don't see it listed on the 900 policy right now listed because we were waiting for our attorney feedback on 904. It wasn't on the list, but we had spoken to him about
Okay.
that policy, so we didn't put it on your.
We weren't meaning for that to have a first reading tonight, that we were waiting for Mick to get back to us to figure out how to do that one.
Okay, that
I
makes
don't
more
know how.
sense.
Yeah, I don't
saw it
know.
in the summary of proposed changes, so I was curious about it.
Okay.
I think I can assist with the confusion. The summary that the 900 link goes to, it's a PDF in the board packet. It lists 904. You can see the bullets are empty.
Okay.
Yeah, there should probably just be a note there that it's pending legal.
Perfect. That's all the questions that I have. Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to approve the policies as presented for first reading?
So moved.
Aaron Knutson, motion. Mossman, second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say
Aye.
aye. Policies passed. On to the student handbooks. For the middle school and high school, there was changes, summary changes presented. Did anyone have questions for the principals? All right, is there a motion to approve the handbooks as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Mossman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Mullen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Handbook's passed. All right. On to the superintendent update. Mr. Dietz.
All right, good evening, everybody. It's a hot one again, but looks like later this week we might get a little reprieve. We have been working closely with Superior Transportation. It's going to be their second year, as we all know, and just to roll out the summer transportation that they've been doing, and they've been doing a great job there, and then to continue to work on the beginning of the year. There were some improvements we needed to make from last year. They won't, they have a bus garage now, so it'll be a lot easier on them to function compared to what they were doing at the beginning of last year. But they did also buy a new telephone system, and they have multiple lines now and multiple ways to leave voicemails with people still answering, so it should hopefully go smoother that way. And their routing system that they're using, they are right now loading it in and getting it ready, which would be an improvement over last year when it wasn't functioning very well. So some improvements that they are making there, and we're just going over our transportation policy and making sure it all kind of goes together. So been working on that. And then you probably or might be aware that, and Mike might or Becky might bring this up too, but we are waiting to see if some title funds get released from the federal government. Title 1C, 2, 3, 4, all does impact, especially 2, 3, and 4 impact Hutchinson schools. And we'll have to wait a little bit to see what happens with those. It is worth noting though that that the Congress already did release those from their end. They just haven't been released from the U.S. Department of Education. So we'll have to wait a little to see where that one goes. And then also, as you see, people have been working very hard on the policies. I want to commend them for all the work that they do. It takes time. You got to put them together, get all the committees together, and then get them ready for the first hearing. And then we'll go through and get them ready for a second hearing if there's anything like that. So I just want to thank people for taking that on, especially also our committee, that our board committee that comes in for all of them. And so they're on the hook for everything. But that's Sarah and Diane and Aaron. So, and then also we did select Teamworks as the company that we're going to do our strategic planning with. And it's all one word. They capitalize the T and the W. So if you're going to look for them, you can find them. They do a lot of work in Minnesota. They have a lot of references. I've called the references. They seem like a good fit. And we'll have a preliminary meeting next week, and then we'll be able to start rolling out more timelines and kind of the meat of what's going to happen with that. So I'm excited for that. And then, as you saw tonight, I also want to commend the food service people. They have been going with the increase that they've done, and I think it's probably because they're allowing more pickup of lunches and for people to leave, and they really kind of pivoted to that, thinking that would help, has increased those numbers. And so it's pretty exciting to see 32,000 meals, and you're only halfway through the summer, and that's already as many as what they served all last summer. So that's pretty awesome. And now the garden's going, and that's always fun to see. They have their store, and if you haven't had a chance to ever go over there, take a time to go over there between 2 and 5 on Tuesdays. The kids are so excited when you drive up and walk up to the stand to sell you something, and it's just kind of a fun experience to see all the stuff that they have. So other than that, that's all I have. Any questions? Thank you.
I would just like to say a thank you to you and Rebecca as well, from the Transportation Committee. When we made the decision of moving to Superior, we knew it would take a lot of work this first year, and we know you put in a lot of work, and just want to say thank you.
All right, Dr. Scott, your turn.
A couple announcement highlights that have come in. That I know that in June, when we had our meeting, we were primarily were focusing on the budget adoption, so we have a few highlights that are still from the spring. So for this fall, middle school, they're getting ready for their 6th grade orientation. That's going to be Thursday, August 14th at the middle school, and there'll be more information coming out to families as that date approaches, so it's kind of a FYI, as well as their parent orientation will take place that day as well. Our high school, New World Singers sang the national anthem at the Twins game on July 10th. I know that there's some videos posted out there on social media as well. They sounded extremely professional. They'll probably get contacted to be singing more. It sounded like they've been doing it for a really long time, but they were selected from an audition tape from choir director Jake Huntley. So congratulations to them. It was quite an honor to be singing the national anthem at a Twins game. And I know spring sports, like I said, we didn't have a lot of time to be doing that in June to be recognizing that, but baseball had a really successful season this year. They won the Wright County East title, went on to win the section title, came back from losing their first game and winning all the way through to be the section champs, and then competed in the state tournament and received 4th place. So congratulations to the team, as well as senior Brady Larson was named to the All-State or all-tournament team, and then Coach Tim Thody was voted Coach of the Year for Section 8 AAA. So congratulations to the team and Tim and Brady for their recognition and accomplishments on the baseball team. Girls golf, I know I talked about that Elle Schwein was going to state, and she had placed 39th out of 166 golfers, so that's quite an achievement to, I think that's probably the top quarter of all the students competing. So congratulations to her. I know she's a senior next year, so have another shot at continuing her state meets potentially. And in track, Tiffany Dean, she had qualified for the state meet, the 400-meter race, and competed there, and Hanley Newman as well qualified for the state track meet in the 100-meter race. So congrats to them for competing in the state tournament. Announcement for our community members for the on-demand regular school board meetings. Not only will we continue to still be here in person, so come here and watch if you want to see everything, but be in person. But they'll still be live streamed, so people can see that live while the meeting is going on. But then, in addition to that, thanks to Stearnswood Incorporated for making this opportunity possible. There'll be the direct links within about 4 days, so they won't be available right away, but they will be linked for the HCVN YouTube channel. They can access that directly by going to youtube.com/@HCVN online. They can go to the HCVN website to get those links, and then we'll also have them linked on our district website where the school board meeting agendas are. So lots of places to go get those links, but again, within 4 days of the school board meeting. Just a few other things, I guess, in the teaching and learning area we updated our teacher evaluation rubrics with administration and representation and teachers. The reason was twofold. One, we have been using a version 3 of the Charlotte Danielson model, so we updated that to edition 3. And some of the subdomains that we had focused on, we had talked over the course of a few years about adding some more of those subdomains in there, so that we're talking about more focus on maybe the professional growth and professional aspects of the teaching profession. So we've added those things in. And then the second thing was more legislated based on the 2023 legislation about incorporating some of those standards of effective practice. The Charlotte Danielson model still had some of those already in there, but we did the crosswalk of aligning those documents. We did send that to the Minnesota Department of Education. Since we're a QComp school, they do need to, anytime we make any programmatic changes for QComp, we need to send that in. So that is there for their approval, and more information will be provided by the building principals when we get back to school as to what those documents look like. Our QComp coaches, Ruth Hamill and Tiffany Melners, will share that with teachers as well. So again, want to thank the committee for their input, and we met, I think, 4 or 5 times to put those things together, lined it up, and the QComp committee, or the QComp coaches and the committee for their leadership in putting that together. Dan and I had met with EH leadership today, just a preliminary meeting about the READ Act MOU that we'll be bringing forward for 25-26. Like we had last year, had put in place for, and this will be particular basically for new teachers or any of the teachers that are finishing the 2-year cycle of the letters training specifically. We probably will need another one for 26-27 as we go into the phase with the phase 2 teachers that need to complete that. So that was a good preliminary meeting, and hopefully we'll have an MOU to bring forward shortly for that. And the last board update I had sent, that we sent to you weekly, I had the days of the new teacher week, the new support staff week, our all staff breakfast. We'll send something out, an email to you as board members, just to RSVP for those, but hopefully you saw those and those dates. Certainly you're invited to those, all 3 of those things. But again, we'll send some more information out, just more specifically. I think we're about 5 weeks from the new teacher week starting. Those schedules are 99.9% ready to go. We'll send those out to our new staff here in a couple weeks. Dan had talked about the uncertainty of the Title II, III, and IV funding. We're going to keep moving forward with the planning for that, meeting with non-public schools since they do receive a portion of that this week. So we'll be communicating to them what their preliminary numbers may be. I don't even know if they're in there. But moving forward with planning if and when we do get the appropriation of those funds. And finally, I think in the world of curriculum and standards, there's many teachers working this summer with writing and implementing the new ELA standards for the fall, our high school personal finance with some schedule changes and other schedule changes at both middle school and high school. So a lot of great work is still continuing and collaborating this summer. One of the standards that is still in the works that I maybe haven't talked about in terms of like science, English, math, is the MD is working through drafts to adopt new health standards. So right now, local education entities are putting together local standards, and we've followed national standards or standards that are aligned to the MDE Phi-Ed standards. So right now there's another draft 2 out there that they're looking for continued feedback, that any members of the public or school district can go and provide feedback on those draft health standards. And I think that closes on July 18th. So it's been open since June. So if anybody wants to provide that feedback, and they will be then moving towards adoption. We don't know when, but once they are adopted, school districts are supposed to shift from local developed standards to the statewide standards. So it'll be something else that we'll have to be looking at whenever that happens. I don't anticipate that happening this next year for any implementation, and probably not the year following, but it'll be after that. So if there's not any questions, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mike. Ms. Bowl?
Good evening. I do have a few different items to share and an update on the operations side of the school district. This is the time of the year for the next 3 months where we will be working in 3 fiscal years at once, so the team is in go time. It is that time of year. So current year, fiscal year 26, following the budget adoption here at City Center at the end of June, we uploaded all of that into our accounting software, and we're busy proofing that and working out any bugs with our administrators. When we closed the books in June and reported to Finance Committee last week, we were not only closing that month, but we were closing the prior fiscal year. So we're going to continue with that up until the middle of September, and then our preliminary financials will go to the auditor. The auditor is scheduled to be on site September 29th through October 3rd, and as long as all of that progresses well with their team and ours, there should be a November board report and presentation on the finances as of June 30th. Then we are also starting to work on the revenue for fiscal 27, And examples of how that is being completed all relates to the levy timeline and the levy cycle. If you recall, September, what's coming is the preliminary certification of the levy, and then the final happens through board adoption at Truth and Taxation in December. One of the first pieces that you see every time we start a new levy cycle is the long-term facility maintenance revenue and expense plan, and that was adopted as a part of the consent agenda. And then we'll be working to put in fiscal year-end numbers into various levy components through the MDE website in August. All of that's turned around September 8th, and then we work on verifying all of that through the month of September. One additional piece to comment on with the Trump administration holding back federal Title II, III, and IV funds, that equates to approximately $100,000. We are going to continue our programming. As was mentioned, we will use carryover dollars that we've been permitted to keep in order to address that and support that programming throughout the school year. And then depending on how that all plays out, we may or may not need to make adjustments for the following school year. Also related to title, that was the one of 6 audits that the school district was a part of from the state level this past year. We did receive very, very good results. They stated that we met expectations in all but one area. We do need to resubmit some work detail reports as a corrective action by February 1. But as all audits go, they always find something, and so we will work with the team to correct that. Food service corrective action plans are underway, and the majority of them will be due December 1 or sooner. We are down to one outstanding item on the food service side of things, and I don't have an update on the student reporting audit. Other than that, we're busy with negotiations preparations. We did meet for the first time last week with HESP, so we appreciated everyone coming together for that meeting, and then we will begin bargaining with Local 284, the custodians, on August 1st. I know a great job was extended to food service, and even though Leslie, Ann, and Amy departed, I just want to make sure to highlight their leadership, not only with the summer feeding program, but the school gardens, because they really continue to extend and grow each of those every single year. So that's noticed and appreciated, as are all of the staff that are working really hard behind the scenes, packing the lunches and distributing to families. Also pleased to report that all of the technology projects are on track for the summer. If you recall, we have some changes going on with Windows 11, copiers, and phones. And with that, I can take any questions you might have.
Thank you. All right, last month we did the superintendent evaluation. Dan, I would just like to say thank you for the past 3 years, and we're all looking forward for the next 3 years. And appreciate your team. And this is what, we'll give it a hot second on the previous one. So thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
All right, on to committee reports. Facilities.
Sure, I'll take that one. Facilities Committee spent most of its time discussing 2 main items at our last meeting. The first was as you might recall from last month's meeting, there was community interest in revisiting our facility fee rates. And so a small group has been working through this with Justin leading that team. And we started by meeting with some community stakeholders and getting their feedback. And then Justin and his team were able to take that offline and are sort of working through what a different facility fee schedule might look like. That facility fee schedule in the past has looked like this, you guys. It is policy 813B attachment. And so both that policy and the fee schedule chart will need to come before this board. We're looking at bringing that first reading to you on July 28th, and then the second reading on August 11th. So look for that to come, and there'll obviously be time for questions, and we'll reach out and talk about that beforehand. The second issue that we spent some time on was our long-term facility maintenance 10-year plan. As those of you that have taken a look at this in the past, it's a very large document with many different subdivisions. And we have to submit this every year to the state to show that we are planning for facilities for a 10-year span. And so there's a lot of basic data that goes in there that Becky Bull was helpful enough to provide to us, and then there's a lot of other summations and estimates that you make over that 10-year span. As you know, a lot of things can change, and we're doing our best guess to give that to the state to update what our facilities are doing and what they might need. The last maybe little brief bit that I'll mention that we talked about was we're continuing to discuss options about maintaining the parking lot at the bus garage. And so might be moving forward with some plans there to fill in potholes and take care of it for some plans that will take care of it for the next few years. So we may have to revisit that again. Thank you.
Thank you. On to finance.
The important stuff was already mentioned earlier from the Director of Finance, but we did, as usual, review the revenues and expenses, and they are on track, and there's going to be a lot of review as it is the end of the fiscal year. And then all the questions were answered regarding the check register.
Thank you. Technology, Matsman?
Technology met on the 24th. Despite it being summer, it was still a good group of staff present. We talked through InfoSec training, obviously seeing a decline in participation rates, but on the flip side, they're seeing an increase in staff identifying phishing alerts, phishing attempts, and sending those on to the IT team, which is great. Summer projects, as Becky mentioned, are all on track. Those include CAD lab upgrades, new storage installed, which was a lot of that was able to be done in-house. The Windows 11 upgrades, and then a new server was installed. There was an internet maintenance event done by an outside provider on June 19th. Nick was happy to share that there were very little interruptions and outages. And then the last thing we talked through was a regional AI guidance draft that was put out by SWWC. Jocelyn had the idea of maybe putting together a subcommittee of the technology committee to begin reviewing that draft and coming up with a district strategy for the integration of AI in our buildings. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Upcoming meetings are up on the screen. We will have a workshop on the 28th, and we will be back here August 11th. And if there's nothing else, I'm going to close the session for negotiations. Thank you, guys.